Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Friday, August 8th, 2025. Just want to go through these indicators real quick. It's going to be a little bit more important on the 65-minute because we're not, but the daily point of view is fantastic. And on the 65, you'll really start to clean up what's happening here. We are getting our lower high. Obviously, it is not confirmed until you make a new low, but so far it's looking good with these this 2008 trend line. So yeah, let's go with it. We're doing this intraday about 11:52 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube supporter. It's 99 cents a month, not Patreon. I know that a couple people are having trouble. You don't get the same features with Patreon. And although I do really, really appreciate the support there, the YouTube membership is the way to go. So we just did a full analysis on the big tech, the Magnificent Seven, and other big tech stocks, and showing how they're finishing up their moves here and on a Friday, and showing some exuberance and just the last gasp kind of moves, and where those should be ending and or have ended. Okay. All right. There's Apple. As a matter of fact, that was one of them. It's at the 62% retracement now, and I believe it's going to reverse right off of that point that we're at right now. So, all right, we have SPX, and you can see it. You know, Brett, the market's just being held up by these big names. It's pretty obvious what's happening. And what was I going to say? Let's just go through the indicators here. We have the moving averages, obviously in that bullish posture, right? We're trying to hold on for dear life over that 8 and the 20. So that cannot be any sort of negative confirmation. But the fact is will into resistance. We're back at it. We got above it. That's a fake break. You see the big move to the downside. Now the market wants to test to see if it can get back above it. And that's the idea. So you have to get above that to continue to go higher. I know that seems the obvious, but this is a kind of a bull bear line right here. This is the last line in the sand for the bears. McClellan oscillator. Not much better. I mean, just here in the bear territory, not much to say there. We're keeping an eye on that. We'll look at the summation on the weekly analysis tomorrow or Sunday, whenever I get that out. I've been getting it out on Mondays too. So whenever I'm able to get that out to you. And we are getting an inside. That was last week. So we are getting an inside week here. It looks like a big hot dog. So we'll look at that again tomorrow. So here's our MACD. You see that still heading to the downside. We're in bullish territory, but we're heading to the downside. I do believe our top is in. And today we made an incremental high here. So let's, on the 65, you'll see what that has done. All right, so we still have the slow stoke holding the market. It's a headwind against the MACD. So momentum is down on the MACD, but the slow stoke, which is a more sensitive indicator, is showing that we're getting to that overbought territory. And we're going to watch to see when this curls down. Is that Monday? Is that Tuesday? We shall see. Demark, don't believe there's a setup here right now. Maybe a 1, 2, 3 count. Yep, we're back at the 3 count. So we'll have a 13 count. From here, we'll have a 13 count on this bounce here as of Monday. So yeah, that will be a nice exhaustion count there for us. Wasn't expecting that one. Awesome oscillator. Starting to get a green bar. See if that keeps improving. Let's go over to SPY. SPY in the daily time frame. We're going to check out the money flow index. This is our distribution accumulation. We are still distributing. We're, as a matter of fact, today making a new incremental high. That's my word of today. I said it like 20 times in the other video. With that new high, we're still getting price distributing here. Bollinger Band getting tighter. It's getting really tight. Is it going to break out to the upside and push the Bollinger Band higher, or is it going to break down and push it lower? I think it's going to be lower. Awesome oscillator, it's coming up a little bit, but again, I think we had our wave 3 to wave 5 done. Let's go over to the VIX. Now the VIX is very important going into the next couple days, and we talked about this. So we have this dominant cycle low, and I was looking at that. We talked about it, and I wasn't sure how this would play out but now I think it's going to be a higher low going into the cycle. Now the cycle is for next Wednesday, so technically today is our first day into this period where you have 3 to 4 days of a low period. So we can get the low in today. It could be Monday all the way up to Wednesday, which would be the ideal low. All right. So we're in that time frame to look for a low, and we're also back in the zone here. Yes, there is more room for that zone, but it begins here. That's where prices are rejecting off of. And now I suspect we should get support off of anywhere in this zone here. Okay, that's how technical analysis works, and that's probability. Okay, now let's go back to SPY on the 65. And if again on this tomorrow or whenever I get the weekend video, I'll show exactly where the points of view of the bullish and bearish scenarios, in my opinion. But we're not going to go through that today. Or you can look at last weekend's video if you don't want to wait and you want to compare the two or something like that. But I do believe we're getting a left shoulder head, right shoulder forming. I had this as a wedge. We're getting a little bit of a rejection there. But now I have it as a channel. Since we made a new incremental high here, I'm putting this low here. It just makes sense that this is a channel now. So I'm going to take off this line here just to clean it up a bit. Then we have another gap forming here. Now our first sign of bullishness this week was that most of the individual names were hitting this options expected move to the upside. What I was looking for is, we talked about having an inside week. That was definitely a possibility, and that's fine and dandy. That's what the market is doing. You have buyers that are still in here that are going to say, we're getting all-time highs. We're getting all-time highs. We're going to keep doing it. So you have to buy the dip peeps in here. And so you're going to get this, even if this does make a new high, then we have to start all over. Then you're going to have a new wave 1 eventually, which is going to be impulsive. It's going to look just like this. Obviously there's nesting as well, but on a higher degree, this can be nesting as well. So we're forming an equilibrium. Maybe by the beginning of next week, we start to break down, get another bounce, and you get a 1, 2, 1, 2, and perhaps you get another inside week next week. This can happen. Now, what also can happen if we get this lower high is that we immediately continue to drop and we start filling some gaps to the downside. So it all depends. We have CPI on Tuesday. It all depends on the catalyst and what's happening there. So, I'm going to keep selling the rip. That's what mode I'm in. I'm going to sell it and wait for the market to let go. In a Wyckoff distribution, you'll notice that in your last phase that you have these buying, and then it finally lets go when you lose key support here. And our key support is really around this 620 area, and it's a zone. So you have 618, but that would be your head and shoulder area right there. All right. With the indicators, you have your moving averages here, pushing things up, bullish on the 65. And you have your MACD, which is starting to, it was starting to curl there, but it's getting back above here, so that's bullish. And then you actually have a new high. I was expecting a lower high here. I haven't looked at these. I look at pretty much almost all the time. I look at these on the fly with you. because that's the work that I have to do anyway for myself. And so that's why I decided to do this YouTube channel. It was just to share the work that I do myself every single day. Now, if I'm looking at individual names and I'm getting ready to short something, obviously, I'm going to look at the charts. But so no real setup here in particular, other than we're at resistance right now. Can this touch the new high here? The Magnificent Seven made a new high today. Sure. Is this a consolidation? We get a new high. Fine. That's okay with me. I know that it's going to form another divergence, and the market breadth is weak, and so on and so forth. And we're going to short that high into resistance again. And then we'll be looking to start that pattern, that wave count over if we don't get a lower high from this point. All right. And how would we count that? That's a good question. I'll have to figure that out later. The slow stoke will roll over there. When you're getting these last moves, you have these waves that are crossing over each other. So you really have to consider the ending diagonals and things like that. It's not an impulse unless we're starting a new leg up. Now, if you're in that camp, this is a 1-2, 1-2 setup, and we're looking for wave 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, and higher. All right. But as of right now, this is just, really, this can be an A for an A wave, a B, and then you're getting a 5-wave impulse C. And it looks like we'll be double topping if that's the case, if that's just an ABC. All right. Demark. We have a 4 count. Let's see if we get to a 9 here for another setup. Awesome oscillator, starting to head a little bit higher. Money flow index. All right, we didn't make a new high here. So far, we have a little bit of divergence right here, right now, as of that new high. So that's distribution, but this could burn through. Again, if this wants to go up to the top there, we could get into that overbought territory again. So this is not a confirmed divergence yet. Bollinger Band. Pushing up against there with overbought situation. Maybe with this new high right here, maybe get that negative divergence at this point in the RSI. But you do have a sell signal right now. And maybe that was the sell, and we're consolidating and pushing the Bollinger Band up a little bit higher here for this bear flag. But so the setup is there again. And then Elliott oscillator, nothing to look at here. Maybe again we get some sort of other move here. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out, but there's no setup there at this point. Not like this one where you had a high correction, you made a new high, but you made a lower high. All right, that right there, that was showing that the move was done, and then you really started to break down. And then we'll peek over at the VIX again on the 65. We weren't sure if these points here would break, would hold. It did for a second, but now we have this wedge that's forming right now. So we'll see if this bottom holds in here. There's a wick there. There's the bodies. We'll see when and if that starts breaking down at all. So far, testing the lower end. If you have it with all the other wicks at the bottom, then we're breaking down. But clearly, you can draw that kind of the zone here. All right, so we're in the zone. Let's see if we start to get a low here today or tomorrow. And we made a new low here. We haven't made a new high in SPY. We'll see. All right, thanks for joining me here. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video, you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.